Hello, friend. You are most welcome to this part two of our discussion. I want to believe that you have gone through part one. If you have not, please look for part one or check the link on this video and click it to see part one because it's important to be able to join us in this very discussion. I want to continue, start by re-emphasizing that marriage is sweet and marriage is enjoyable. By the way, that's my wife dressing me up. She is actually my fashion designer. She's not a fashion designing person, but she's the one that takes care of my fashion. Now, the fear a lot of people have about marriage is understandable, clearly understandable. Environments can cause that trouble for someone. I met a young man somewhere. He was in his first years of then, and there was something we discussed, and he suddenly told me, I wasn't even married then. He told me that he will never marry. And I said, why? He said, because women are devil. Or like, are you serious for real? And I don't know, maybe that mentality could have affected him. Something informed it, and that's my concern here. The part one of this message we shared, this seminar, a student of mine saw it and responded to me in a WhatsApp message to say, Sir, I have decided not to get married. I called her and said, what happened? She said the experience she had had in the last few months have changed her mind. Well, I do hope to discuss with her and trusting God for grace to convince her otherwise. By the way, everybody must not get married, but I want to say that marriage is sweet. That fear is understandable. A lot of things happen in different places. I met a woman who told me she had finished giving birth. The children were grown up. She told me, if I know what I know now, I wouldn't have married the man I married. You know, and then I also met different people who had challenges. But the truth is that that is not the end of the story. Okay, by the way, there was this woman that called me recently and said, look, she's been having challenge with her husband, and the daughter who recently graduated has been affected by that challenge to the point that the daughter said that marriage is not in her concern at moment. And so the woman got concerned and asked me to help see if I can address that matter. Myself and my wife, we've been talking with her, and sincerely we have seen this light, we have seen this determination to give it a trial, but not just a trial. I want to trust that she's going to enjoy her marriage because she's receiving guidance. And so what I'm saying is that the problem is that the people who are having challenge in marriage are the loudest. So many, well, not so many, but a good number of persons are sincerely enjoying their marriage, but they are not loud. And that's the trouble. Those whose marriage have become storm, have become troublesome, are the ones that we see in the news, in the media. For instance, I take my wife to the market. I'm like her driver when she's going to market. I walk her through the market. I hold her hands. I carry bags for her. Sometimes I put my hand on her shoulder. Sometimes I hold her, put her hand in, I hold her hand the way I held it on the day of marriage or wedding. People will be looking at us. She want to withdraw her, and I say, she, cool down. If they vex them, let them go and carry their own wife that way. I mean, this thing is sweet, it's enjoyable if you get it right, and I want to believe you will get it right. That is why you've been following us in the story. I stayed with a man somewhere, and the marriage of this man was a huge blessing to me. It left positive impact. They had delay in childbearing. As a matter of fact, they didn't have their own biological child. Finally, they had to adopt a baby. But if you see the way this couple stay together and enjoy themselves, you will feel like getting married tomorrow. And that is what is going to happen in your own marriage. That people will desire to get married because you are doing well. You are going to do well. Now, where we stopped last time is a situation where a stranger, and that is the topic we are discussing, a situation where a stranger has approached a lady for marriage proposal, and we have discussed the challenges around it. And so, what should be the response of this lady who wants to get it right in marriage under such circumstance? Whether she has fallen in love with the person at first sight or not, what should be her response to such situation? We're here to guide you. This series are designed to provide guidance, and our hope is that it will be able to help you if you're not yet married. If you're married, you could find direction on how to guide younger ones to get it right. So we are continuing in this part 2. So what is the first thing you need to do? The first step is that when somebody approaches you for marriage proposal, whether you like the person or not, whether you will say yes or not, please be appreciative, be positive. Don't behave like this person has done something crazy. I love the way that young lady is smiling and giving a handshake. And the handshake, I think she's even looking at the guy in eyeball to eyeball. So be appreciative. There are so many young ladies out there. Nobody is proposing to them. Nobody has come to say hi. So if someone is coming your way, it means that the person appreciates you. The person has found something good in you, something worthy in you. So why not say thanks? Why not be grateful? I mean, it's not something you need to become too, afraid of. Welcome the person. Hello, you're welcome. How are you? And the discussion starts. Be positive. Even if you know that at the end of it, I'm not going to say yes to this person. But that initial disposition is important. That person may not finally marry you. But what if he is the connection between you and your God-given husband? Your disposition can destroy that connection. So please be positive, be appreciative. Okay? Appreciate the person for coming. After all, the scripture, the Bible says that marriage is honorable in all. So I need young ladies to know that proposal for marriage is an honorable thing. It's an honorable offer from a guy. And you should treat it as something honorable. Your response should be an honorable response. Even if it's a no, that no should be presented in an honorable way. Don't look down on him. Don't say, we are not the same class. Please, appreciate the person. Maybe we'll discuss how to respond, whether it's yes or no, but not in this particular part. In the next video, we're going to do that. Now, when you have been positive and you've been appreciative and you receive this person, engage him in discussions. Meanwhile, this is a stranger, so you've not known him from Adam. Engage him. I have a set of consigns you can discuss with him here, but this consign is not like an exam paper you'll carry and begin to read it to someone. You will look crazy. Be friendly. Hello, you're welcome. How was your journey? Okay. Was there any delay? Show concern, exchange pleasantry, show that you care. Oh, thank you for coming. You came all the way from Calabar. This is interesting. To Ebonyi State to come and see me. Wow, this is good. Thank you for coming. I can imagine the stress. Oh my God, you're welcome. And then you find somewhere to sit and discuss, somewhere convenient. If possible, someone is telling you he's coming to see you and you're a lady, find somewhere. You should make an arrangement where the person will stay, not when the person arrives you look like you don't know anything. Say, okay, you're welcome, and please can we go to so and so place and sit down, if you have some arrangement. Otherwise, he may be the one who will ask you, please, is there anywhere we can go and sit down, if the person doesn't know your environment. And then you engage in these discussions. How are you? You're welcome. Please, I would like to know you more. This is the first time I'm seeing you. Okay, so did you go to university? I'm sorry, or secondary school? Say, I finished from university. Wow, which course? I did banking and finance. Which school? Wow, this is interesting. I did it in Unizik. And I also currently doing masters. I just finished masters. Wow. It's like you want to be a professor. Be friendly. You know, try to interact. If the person is already working, you find out the work the person is doing. Find out what course he studied. Maybe he is doing what he didn't study. Find out his career plans. Find out whether he's are you staying with your family? He said, no, I'm living alone. He said, okay, that's good. Where? At Calabar. So what are you doing? Well, I am working and still schooling. Okay, that's fine. Um, but your family, where do they stay? See, they stay at Onitsha. I say, okay, Onitsha, that's good. Your dad, your mom, they are there at Onitsha. Well, my dad is there. My mom is actually at Aba, but she visits the family. Okay, the family. So, you have siblings, brothers, sisters? Yeah, I have three of them. Two actually with my mom, and the other one is with my dad. The ones that are with your mom, I'm sure they are the girls. Girls too, they like to stay with mommy. So on the contrary, they are not even the girls. It's the boys that are with my mom. So I have two other brothers and the sister staying with daddy. Maybe it's helping daddy to cook. You ask. I mean, be friendly. This is not a rocket science. You can get it right. So probe about his family. It gets to help you know whether he's the firstborn or the last. I mean, this is not something you do in a hurry. It's something you bring out small, small. But be able to get your data. Be able to get your information. If a lady comes to me and says somebody's offering me hand in marriage and I'm thinking of saying yes to him, and I start asking you some basic question about the person. What does he do? I think he said he's a tech person. I said, tech? What does he do in tech? I don't know, but I think he's a freelancer. Freelancer, tech. Anybody can be freelancer and be tech, and that thing may not hold water. So this information are things when you start meeting, when you meet with this stranger, begin to know him. That's acquaintance. Begin to get gists. Then you may begin to narrow down to and then you keep discussing. If the person finally offers hand in marriage, beautiful. If he didn't that first day, you can keep discussing. The whole discussion may not finish that day, but be sure to ask about his former relationship. Had he had a girlfriend before or a fiance? And then, if yes, how did it end? What ended it? These are things you probe. For those of you like me who are born again and you want to probe about the faith, ask the person. I mean, things about the faith. If you are born again and you ask that question and all of that, if you are not born again, get born again. If you are not born again, don't get ask people, are you born again? There was this issue that happened somewhere in my village. They were coming to marry one child of God, and then there were these two ladies dressing like harlots, at the back, and they were just gisting and making noise. One of them told the other person, "Look, I'm going to marry a born again in my life." Oh. He said, a shower like you, harlot like you want to marry a born again? He said, leave that one. You should have asked me why did I say that. The other one asked that. So why did you say it? He said, if not for any other thing, you'll be my only husband. You mean my husband alone? See you. You that don't want to be somebody's wife alone. You are looking for somebody who will be your husband alone. So it's good to live a decent life. That's the point I'm trying to make. Decency is important. So ask question about the person's faith, and that will guide you understand the stranger better. So you discuss with the person real things that are important. Now, there is this note I want you to take care of. In each of these engagements you are having with this person, be sure to listen to what he is saying and what he is not saying in the course of providing answers to your questions. If you ask a question, try to understand what is this person saying. Sometimes people are answering your question, but they are dodging certain information. But if you are sensitive, and sometimes if you are looking straight at the person, you'll be able to grab it. So don't just be listening and be swallowing everything like you are an idiot. Try to understand, try to listen with a mindset to find out if this person is actually telling you the truth, because this is a stranger. Remember where we started. He's like somebody who is wearing a mask. That person who is wearing a mask may be the nicest person to come your way. It may be the guy with a golden heart, but you are not sure. You need to probe. The person may actually be the most wicked human being on earth. But because he knows that you look decent, that day he may decide to look very decent. So you probe into this thing to be sure whether you are where you are seeing what you want in him. There is this caution here. One of the worst kind of persons to marry is someone who is not truthful, whether it's a lady or a guy. So if you are not truthful, it's an issue for you. You shouldn't be expecting somebody to be truthful to you. So truthfulness is important. No, but one of the challenges ladies have is getting to marry someone who is not truthful. Someone who will say one thing and will mean a different thing altogether. You know, there was this young guy that got someone he wanted to marry, and he decided to visit me with the lady. He wanted to show me the lady he decided to show me the lady he wanted to marry. Myself and my wife were in the house to receive them. And then I began to gist with this girl. As I was gisting with her, I was listening to what she was saying and what she wasn't saying. And then at the end of the day, when they left, I told my wife that I wouldn't want to stop this guy from getting married, but I don't feel very comfortable with this marriage. You know, there was a way this lady was responding to me, which I'm beginning to suspect something. It wasn't long. The guy called me and was already angry with me. I said, the young lady said I was, and meanwhile he was there with us. Said the fiancé said that I was probing her too much. I was asking too many questions at the same time. Was that why he carried her to go and meet that man? That was just probing and probing and probing. I said, oh, sorry about that. I felt I needed to gist with someone you brought to me because you are my friend, and if you marry her, I hope she becomes my friend too. So I was just trying to bridge the gap. I said, okay, I'm sorry about that if she felt bad. It wasn't long. It became clear to my friend that that lady was actually hiding something. She had a baby in her father's house and wasn't willing to let the young man know about it. For me, it is not a bad thing to have a baby. It could be an accident. It's not encouraged. I don't encourage it at all. But if it has happened to someone, it shouldn't stop the person from getting the best in marriage. But if you are going into any marriage, be ready to put that issue on the table for negotiation. You don't hide it from the young man. And that was what she was trying to do until one of the aunties asked the young man, has this girl told you that she has a baby? Because I told her if she doesn't tell you, I will tell you. And that was the shocker of his life. That was how my friend withdrew from that relationship. Okay, so someone who is not truthful can finish you. Another friend, a family friend I have somewhere, this lady was staying somewhere in UK, and then they connected her to this guy, engineer, a tech person, computer engineer, and all of that, and they made an arrangement to get married, and it was a huge wedding. Vice chancellors attended the wedding, not one, not two. People that have dignity attended this wedding. The lady came from UK. I think she studied pharmacy also in Nigeria and then traveled. And then they got married and to this engineer, and then she started preparing paper for the guy to come over. And this guy was dragging issues. She needed to get the guy's transcripts to be able to do it like a professional coming into the country, UK. And the guy was dragging issues, not submitting any transcripts, until she got angry and started calling the guy's brothers to say, look, I don't know what is happening to your brother engineer. He's not giving me the paper I'm asking him for so I can process this thing quickly. I need him to cross over. And the brother said, who is the engineer? He said, your brother, of course. He said, no, he's not an engineer. And then this lady began to probe, only to discover that the guy actually got admission into the university to study computer science or computer engineering, but did something bad and the school expelled him. And then he began to do business in computer. He started selling systems and all of that, and started doing well in that business, well known in the business. And so he took the title engineer, and he never told this young lady that he didn't graduate from the university. He gave her that impression that he was a computer engineer. That was too bad. I felt so bad watching that marriage crashed because they were getting along so well. But I saw them tearing their wedding pictures. I saw them destroying things, and that was the end of it. Many young ladies are in hell because they got married to a man who is not truthful. So this is something you watch out. Anytime you begin to discuss, to probe. By the way, another kind of terrible human being to marry is a lazy man. If you ever marry a lazy man, you are finished. No, you are totally finished. Because he will make life difficult for you. He will put you on speed lane almost all through your life. Most of them that are lazy are hard to be pleased. And of course, sometimes they feel insecure. You are doing well, you are jumping out with people. They will be feeling that you are doing something else with those people. And they want to make life miserable for you. Okay? So, and if care is not taken, they can become violent. So, as much as possible, please avoid lazy men. And you get to know when you probe them. A young man came to me. Okay, a lady brought a young man and said, look, this guy wants to marry me, and I wanted him to come and see you. I said, okay, that's fine, let him come. And the young guy came, and we were gisting. By the way, this young guy was already 40 years. That's not a problem for me. There's people who start late. But I asked him some questions, and I wasn't very comfortable. I said, so what are you doing now? He said, I was selling electronics before, and then I felt I wasn't doing the will of God. So I started to pray, to ask God for direction. I said, so you are still praying? He said, yes. I said, okay, that's fine. I also believe in prayer. But don't you think you need to go and pray this prayer and conclude the prayer and get a direction before you start looking for a partner who will help you walk through that direction? At 40, you are still praying for direction. Well, it's not a bad idea. It is good to pray for direction. But I think it's important. So now you are not working, and you don't have any work you are planning to do. You are still seeking for direction. It's important you finish that direction. Maybe by the time you get that direction, you will now come and get somebody who will walk the direction with you. Well, the marriage didn't hold anyway. So the other thing is that your ability to discover his truthfulness when he's answering your question may be more important than the responses he's giving you. This guy you are interacting with, asking different questions in a very friendly manner, and is responding. Your ability to be able to know whether he's lying or he's not lying matters a lot. If care is not taken, it's more important than the responses he's giving you. Okay? So, what do you need to be able to do this task? This task of being able to understand the truthfulness in this guy, this stranger who showed up from the blues. You didn't know him before, but he just showed up. What do you need to be able to do this task? I will show you that thing you need. Two important things. Number one, you need divine grace. Number two, you need special sets of skills. I will present that and we end this discussion here. You need the divine grace and you need special skills. These skills are special and they are very, very important. Now, what is divine grace in this context of marriage here? Divine grace is the power of God that helps one go beyond his or her human capacity. That's my personal definition. I didn't copy it anywhere. Maybe I've had people say something close to it, but that's my perception in this context. Divine grace is that power of God that helps someone go beyond his human capacity. You may have all the skills, more than what I'm going to present in the next few slides as I conclude this discussion, but there are people who have had the skills. They have been more careful than any human being, desiring not to make mistake, yet they got into a messed marriage. It takes divine grace to set one free. You see that hand trying to lift the other hand beyond where that hand can reach. We need God factor in our relationship and marriage. Don't play with it. Okay? It's very, very important if you want to get it right. You see, if divine grace has come to help someone and God has discovered that there is trouble in this relationship in front, that divine grace can make that relationship not to work. You are putting in your best, you desire to make it work, and yet it has ended. And as a lady, you feel so bad. You weep, you cry, you can't be comforted. I've been in a scene where this happened. A young lady got into a relationship and was giving that relationship her best. She came from a wealthy family. And then the family was also concerned that the young man, as of then, wasn't doing well. By the way, that guy is doing so well now. The young man, as of then, wasn't doing well. But this lady wanted to protect this relationship. So the father said, okay, we'll do something. I'll send your brother to come and see the guy's house where he's staying. Kai, he gave the young lady a huge concern. She went into the market because she has already said yes and they are ready to get married. She went into the market and bought things to come and set up that room to look impressive. That was part of her sacrifice, putting in her best to make it work. We'll discuss this in another video in this series. So, but something happened, and suddenly this guy changed, and then the brother came and loved the environment, reported to the family. The family was happy, and things started getting along well. I knew when they agreed to, they went out to go and buy clothes for their traditional. But something happened. Sometimes there are things that are difficult to explain. This guy happens to be a very good guy. It's like a senior friend to me. Someone I respect, someone has been so important in my life. But something happened at that stage, and he changed his mind and said he's not marrying again. This lady came to tell me it was difficult. I met with my friend. He's my senior friend. He was like a big brother to me. I discussed with him in his room. We discussed and discussed. I felt bad I couldn't convince him to maintain that relationship, and it ended. The day it ended, this lady wept like somebody died in her family. So divine grace can spare you even when you are weeping and saying you don't want to let go. But God may see that that relationship is not for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't put in your best. Put in your best, but when you have put in your best and it has failed, stay strong. It's possible it is divine grace sparing you from trouble. Now, what are those skills? Skill number 1. When you come across this strange person, your ability to become, to avoid becoming too emotional or too excited when you are with him is a skill. As of that time, you have not given him a yes answer. Don't tell me he's making me too emotional. If he makes you too emotional, you stay gidigam like Rock of Gibraltar. Please just stay strong. That's the point I'm making. Don't become too emotional and too excited before this stranger that you are not able to coordinate yourself. Be in charge of yourself and the situation. If you are not in charge of yourself and situation, things will happen and you won't know. So that's the skill number 1. Ability to avoid becoming too emotional or too excited when you are with him until you say yes. Don't become too much emotionally attached. Yeah, you may see all you like. You may see that, I mean, he looks like the kind of person you want, but still do your checks and balancing. Okay, now skill number 2, be ready and sensitive enough to connect the dots in his responses. So anytime you are discussing with him, don't just be listening. Be able to connect what he said yesterday, 2 weeks ago, and what he's saying now. If there are discrepancies, if the dots are not connecting, raise red flag in your heart. He may not know, but you're already telling yourself, I mean, there's something about this guy. You are still flowing, you are still smiling, you are still friendly, but you are putting question marks somewhere that there are issues around this that is not clear. So your ability to be sensitive enough to connect the dots. The design here is connect the dots. Now, if you look at this, somebody may think that at the first sight there is flower. So this image here looks very much like flower, and you like it. But if you now are able to connect the dot, you may discover that this is lion that is capable of devouring you. And so it's important you are ready and sensitive enough when you are talking with him. Listen like somebody who is ready to get answer and connect things together. Let's look at scale number 3. Scale number 3 is that you should be able to look people into the eyes when they are responding to you. You are talking with someone you want to marry. You are not coming like a house help. You are not coming like a slave he wants to purchase. You are coming as a partner, as a wife, as a spouse. So you need to look the person in the eyes. Sometimes when people are lying and you look at them, you may be able to find out that, look, there's something about this. Look at this first image here. This lady looks like somebody would think that she's humble. This is timidity, it's not humility, and it's not an advantage in the table of negotiation for marriage. It's not a plus. She's looking timid here. And then you may ask her, will you marry me? Let me ask my daddy and my mommy. Can't sit down. You may want to ask anybody, by the way, but you need to take a position. And look at this second image here. I love that. Okay, the lady is smiling, she's friendly, she's looking at this guy, and this guy may not be sure he has gotten a yes answer. He say, yeah, how are you? And you're friendly. You have not discharged him, but he doesn't know your mind. And that's part of what God has given you as a gift. Someone will not know what is in your mind. Okay, so be bold, be friendly, work like you are an investigative journalist in a very friendly manner. Get all the information you need to get so that you can connect the necessary dots. When they are connected, then you'll be able to make serious decisions. Number 4, and the last scale here, is that when you become suspicious because the dots are not connecting, don't be too quick to jump into a conclusion. No, don't be too quick to jump into a conclusion thinking you have found out something terrible while you must discharge him. What if you are wrong? What if you are wrong? This is your small brain. I'm sorry, your brain is not small, your brain is sharp and brilliant. But what if you are wrong? Okay? So be bold to say that if you are not very, very, very sure of what is happening. Be bold to tell him to give you some time, give you space. Giving time is one thing, giving space is another thing. Tell him to give you space to shift so that you'll be able to think through the whole presentation, the whole proposal, the whole offer. If need be, ask him to reduce communication. Yeah, we can chat a while, but if he calls you every now and then, tell him, please reduce this call. Let me think. Let me be able to make informed decision here. And then at such time, you'll be able to find a way. You can even find a way of reprobing certain matters that you are suspecting, and then that could go a long way helping you. All right, so this whole process may take some time. This process may take some time, and that is part of why the drama they show us in Nollywood and different other, movies may not be the very, very best for somebody who wants to get it right, except in some exceptional cases. You meet a stranger, you've not known him so well, you have not made a decision about him, and he suddenly batches on you and offers you a proposal. And I've gathered friends, with trumpets everywhere, and everyone is shouting, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. Be sure you are not saying yes to your death sentence. Many have said it and they didn't survive it. If you're already convinced about the person who is coming, the guy who is coming, yeah, you can say yes. And of course, he should know. But if you have not made up your mind and he knows that you have not made up your mind, he's supposed to be wise enough to respect your feelings instead of coming to put you on the spot. Okay? Some people do their own after they have discussed somewhere and is an inside arrangement. The lady has said yes because they want to catch fun. They just decide to act the drama. That's fine. Okay? But please take your time to think through the process. If the person comes and start pushing you like he's a firefighter, these firefighters, once there is emergency and they're invited, they like to go on speed lane and they don't want anything to stop them. So if the person comes and start pushing like he's a firefighter, telling him that he wants to conclude a marriage immediately, that his people are on his neck to get married, that if he doesn't get married soon something crazy could happen, that you are just the only solution to his wahala, he has just seen you, since he has seen you, you are the only solution. In fact, if you don't marry him, he can commit suicide, he can do something crazy, he start talking to you, trying to intimidate you into saying yes. Please, at such moments, become very suspicious, become cautious, become very careful. Ask for time, excuse yourself, try to calm him down, make necessary consultation with the right set of person or persons. Now, I'm very careful to say the right set of person or persons, okay, because it's not everybody you consult in such kind of matter. You need to consult those who believe in you, those who know those who desire to see you succeed. Okay, so consult the right kind of person who will guide you unbiased. All right, my trust is that you will get it right, and that is why you are taking time to join us in this discussion. Thank you very much for going through this with us again. And once again, that is myself and my darling wife. One of these days I'll bring him on board to handle one of the seminars. She's so nice a person. She's just the best thing that's ever happened to me, and she knows it. I tell her almost every day that I love her so much. All right, so yours is going to be a pleasant experience. Don't be afraid. Marriage is sweet and pleasant. Yours will be sweet and enjoyable. Cheers. Thank you.